Greetings, fellow time travelers. Welcome back to Historia, where we uncover the hidden mysteries of lost civilizations and dive deep into the secrets that shaped our world. I'm your archaeological guide, ready to take you on another mind-bending journey through the corridors of time. Today's discovery will absolutely blow your mind and challenge everything you thought you knew about the world's largest desert. Picture this. What if I told you that the Sahara Desert, that endless sea of scorching sand we see today, was once a lush green paradise teeming with life? What if ancient peoples lived there for thousands of years, completely cut off from the rest of humanity? Before we unveil these incredible secrets that have baffled archaeologists for decades, make sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell. Trust me, you don't want to miss the ancient mysteries we're about to reveal. The Sahara today looks like something straight out of a post-apocalyptic movie. Endless dunes, scorching heat, and deadly isolation. It seems like the most inhospitable place on Earth, where no human could possibly survive. But here's the mystery that has stunned the archaeological world. 5,000 years ago, this barren wasteland was completely different. Imagine with me a breathtaking landscape of rolling green meadows, crystal-clear lakes reflecting the brilliant sun, and winding rivers where water flowed freely. This was a paradise on Earth, home to a ghostly civilization that vanished without a trace, leaving behind only mysteries and unanswered questions. But how do we know this incredible story? Our journey begins in the 1930s, when a Hungarian researcher was conducting an expedition in the Sahara. His path led him through a cave in a remote corner of the desert. When he entered, he discovered something extraordinary. Ancient rock paintings that would change everything we thought we knew about this region. These weren't just any ordinary cave drawings, fellow explorers. The paintings showed people swimming happily in a lake, surrounded by giraffes, hippos and crocodiles. When first discovered, everyone dismissed this as purely symbolic art. After all, how could anyone believe there was a lake in this bone-dry region that seemed completely waterless? How could we possibly imagine a body of water in the Sahara in this harsh, arid climate? But time passed, and about 70 years later, a team of archaeologists made a discovery that would completely revolutionize our understanding of the Sahara. In a rocky shelter in Libya, they found 15 naturally mummified bodies surrounded by everyday objects, baskets, pottery jars, and other daily items. Now, this might seem like just another piece of ancient history to most people, but for archaeologists, this was like discovering a missing piece of a massive puzzle that explained who lived in this part of the world. But here's what will absolutely amaze you. These weren't just random archaeological finds. These mummies were completely different from any other mummified remains ever discovered before. They were among the oldest naturally mummified humans ever found, dating back more than 7,000 years. This discovery raised questions not only about what we knew of the ancient Sahara's history, but also about our entire understanding of how early civilizations developed. Two of these mummies retained readable DNA, thanks to the rare and unique mummification process that occurred naturally in their cases. This was nothing short of a miracle, considering the harsh conditions of the Sahara, which usually erase all biological evidence of life and turn everything into what resembles dried meat. Scientists approached the question of these mummies' origins with extreme caution, trying to understand where they came from. The mitochondrial DNA they managed to recover didn't initially provide any useful clues. This problem persisted for a long time. However, thanks to scientific advances, they were eventually able to conduct a complete genome analysis. The results were absolutely stunning and opened up numerous secrets to scientists. These people belonged to a human lineage that was completely unknown and had lived in isolation from the rest of humanity for thousands of years. For decades, researchers had assumed that their homeland, the Green Sahara, was some kind of prehistoric highway, a green corridor used by humans and animals to migrate between the African savanna and the Mediterranean Sea. However, the mummies destroyed this theory like a massive hippo sitting on a sandcastle, crushing it with its weight alone. The genetic data from these mummies showed no genetic mixing with migrants from sub-Saharan regions and Eurasians, confirming that their DNA remained pure for 7,000 years. What's absolutely mind-blowing is that their closest genetic relatives weren't the neighbours living directly below the known desert, but ancient hunter-gatherers from Morocco, and even beings that lived in what is now Czech Republic 50,000 years ago, when that region wasn't even a nation. But that's not all. Ancient seekers. Scientists also found traces of Neanderthal DNA in these mummies' genetic material, making up only 10% of the amount usually found in contemporary Eurasians. If you've studied biology, you probably know that Neanderthals lived mostly in Europe and Asia, and that early humans mixed with them only after migrating from Africa. But here's the puzzling part. The Green Sahara inhabitants never left Africa. So how did they manage to get Neanderthal genes? The main theory suggests that their ancestors mixed with Neanderthals in North Africa 50,000 years ago, before settling in the desert and completely stopping all contact with the outside world. Archaeologists also found bones of domestic animals and tools made from stone and wood in the shelter, confirming the idea that these people were managing a thriving pastoral lifestyle. This discovery made scientists think long and hard, because animal husbandry in Africa generally hadn't developed much. So how did they learn to tame livestock and lead herds if they didn't communicate with anyone? There are theories suggesting that maybe they didn't have anything like ancient YouTube tutorials showing them how to do it. They might have exchanged knowledge with neighbouring groups, but researchers believe they only did this at the level of knowledge exchange, without any genetic barriers, without any mixing or genetic integration. It's hard to believe they didn't mix with anyone from outside. After all, who wouldn't want to live in a thriving civilization located in the heart of a green paradise, where you could enjoy the outdoors, nutritious milk, meat, and even use animal blood as a protein source? That would simply be delightful. Thanks to their herds, they didn't have to hunt for food every time, which gave them time for a peaceful life, and the abundance of water sources made their existence extremely pleasant. Yet they never married outsiders. Why? Perhaps this was a cultural decision not to meet with representatives of other groups, or maybe the landscape itself created conditions for isolation. This is where scientists are placing their bets. They believe that the dense forests and rivers that existed in the Green Sahara acted like a do not enter sign, creating a geographical barrier that hindered animals, plants, and entire communities. That isolation is why these people's genes were so incredibly unique, but we must note that this genetic time capsule barely survived. Throughout most of the last ice ages, the Sahara was harsher than it is today. It was a true dead zone where humans couldn't survive. 70,000 years ago, even the strongest settlers disappeared, heading south to the Nile Valley and the Mediterranean coast. Why? Because the Earth in those times acted like a climate bully. Massive glaciers stole all the moisture, weakening the monsoons, so rain clouds didn't reach North Africa. However, devastating blows came after that. Fleets of icebergs flooded the North Atlantic, causing severe drought whenever they didn't have playful interactions with spring. Now you might be wondering how the desert became green again after all these climate disasters, then returned once more to desert. It all started 15,000 years ago. When the Earth broke free from the Ice Age's breath, our planet's axis began to wobble, creating unusual climate conditions. As a result, the northern hemisphere moved closer to the sun's rays, giving it extra boosts of light and heat. This perpetual summer turned North Africa into a massive magnet for moisture, pulling water from the Atlantic and forcing it to fall on the desert. The result of this enormous volume of rain was a green savanna with lakes that could match the size of small countries. But we must note that the African humid period didn't just come as a one-time miracle. The reality is that this eternal cycle of transitioning between green and desert states has occurred in the Sahara more than 230 times since its formation. During one of these transformations, the desert even increased in size, becoming larger than it is today. When the Green Sahara appeared again, the region was expected to witness an ecosystem renaissance. We weren't just talking about light green grains, we're talking about a complete transformation. This transition was so radical that it even led to changes in animal populations. Cheetahs faced sudden problems due to new dynamics in the food base, while rodents like the multi-faced mouse thrived greatly in these abundant grasslands. But don't rush to conclude that this was the perfect place. In this paradise, there were special dangers. The desert could become an environmental maze, filled with rivers full of crocodiles, malaria-carrying mosquitoes, and large predators that lurked in the tall grass. Crossing this region was like participating in a real game of survival, where you had to be careful with every step. Perhaps that's why other groups didn't settle here for long periods. Every 20,000 years, the Sahara's climate would swing between wet and dry, creating an uncertain past. For many ancient humans, it made more sense to consider the Green Sahara as a buffet, meaning gathering resources and leaving before the desert returned. Despite this, the Green Sahara period lasted for 10,000 years, giving our mysterious herders plenty of time to multiply. But about 5,000 years ago, the Earth's axis shifted again, rains retreated, and the desert dried up faster than a puddle of water at the height of July. With the desert's return, the herders who had previously thrived in the Green Sahara had no choice but to gather their herds and leave. Some researchers believe they migrated to the Nile, paving the way to ancient Egypt. So perhaps their legacy continues to live on. Additionally, their pure lineage may have become extinct, but some weak genetic traces can still be found in the mummies among people living in North Africa today. However, the introverted mummies weren't the only ones who used the Green Sahara as a comfortable place to live. In fact, they had close neighbours in a village by a lake in Niger. These people lived there for 5,000 years and left behind the oldest cemetery in the Sahara. This unique necropolis contained a human buried in a turtle shell, a smiling man with polished teeth, and a touching family embrace, embodied across time. Fellow time travellers, this incredible story confirms that the Sahara is more cunning than we could ever imagine, creating landscapes that take paradise with one act and return it with another. The study of places like the Sahara not only makes us contemplate the past, but also helps us understand how life on Earth has changed over time. Perhaps this helps us realize the importance of preserving ecological balance and the necessity of finding sustainable solutions that ensure harmonious coexistence between humans and nature. But here's my question for you, ancient seekers. What do you think happened to the descendants of these mysterious Green Sahara people? Did they truly establish ancient Egypt, or did their unique genetic heritage disappear forever into the sands of time? Share your theories in the comments below. I read every single one and love hearing your thoughts. And if this archaeological journey through time has amazed you as much as it amazed me, smash that like button and share this incredible discovery with fellow history lovers. Don't forget to subscribe and ring that notification bell, because next week we're travelling to another lost civilization that will blow your mind, the mysterious sea peoples who nearly destroyed the ancient world. Until then, keep exploring the mysteries of our incredible past, and remember, history is never boring.